Hey, this is Gerd Handel, and welcome to the Inner Light Project. This show is for anyone who's wanting to lead a happier, healthier, and enlightened life. Create more self-love, inject more joy and abundance into their daily life. Join me for inspiring interviews and spiritual topics so you can shine your inner light. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Inner Light Project. My name is Gerd Handel, and today I want to share with you someone who is helping people to live a very fulfilling and transformational life. Colette Baron-Reid is a best-selling author, oracle expert, and personal transformation thought leader. She believes we all have the ability to live a happier, healthier, and inspired life. Hi Colette, I'm so grateful to have you on the show, and thank you for joining us today.
You are so welcome. I'm so happy to be here. I think you're fascinating, so it's always good to talk to somebody I think is interesting.
Bless you. I love you as well, like your energy and who you are and your work, and just having this conversation beforehand, it just made me realize how quite similar we are. And
right?
Yeah, there is so much we're going to unpack today. And I was just feeling like at the beginning, I'd love to share what your life was like before you became a best-selling author and an oracle expert.
Wow. Okay. Well, it wasn't planned. How about that? I'll give you the short version because so I grew up in, my parents were immigrants in Canada. And I grew up with the idea that they came with a work ethic that you have to work very, very hard, and money didn't grow on trees, and education was everything. So they chose me to be a lawyer from when I was this big. However, I wanted to be in music. So I was always an artist, right? So I was always interested in the arts. And that did not bode well. But I also had I think when I think back on what it was like for me, even as a child, right? So I had a tremendous empathy overload. I think if there were such a thing back in the early 60s, I was born in 1958,
Wow.
if they had ADHD and all that stuff, if those were diagnoses at the time, I would have been 1000% diagnosed with a mental health disorder because I was neurodivergent for sure. When I look back on how I processed things and how I was in the world, I didn't fit anywhere. Now, that said, one could say it was because of the fact that I could tune in the way I do now for a living. And I just know things about people. And it's interesting because I would just know things. And I wouldn't know why I just knew things because I thought the person told me the thing. And they'd be like, how do you know that? I went, well, didn't you just tell me that? And then they go, no. I'm like, oh. So who knows like what it was. And I do think that anybody in the intuitive arts is on the slight divergence end of the spectrum. But I had a lot of emotional problems growing up. I had an eating disorder when I was 14. And it was funny because I wasn't overweight at all. And my mother put us on diets. Like it was in the 60s, the grapefruit diet or early 70s was a thing. It was like very popular. So my mother, who was also not overweight, went on this and put us on this diet. And I actually think at the time that really triggered an eating disorder. So, and I was bulimic by the time I was like 14, 15. So I struggled a lot, and having all this extra information, it was very difficult. And bless my parents, they didn't know what to do with me. And they were amazing. They were amazing parents. When I look back now and I used to blame them for stuff, it was not them at all. My God, I was like, I don't know who, that's one of the reasons I'm so happy I don't have kids. I would have had some crazy drug addict, maniac, dead talker. Like me. So I did become a drug addict. And while going to law school, just so you know, I was very smart for a short period of time in my life anyway. I ended anyway. So how did I get to this career is what we want to know. So I got clean and sober, and I really look back at that moment as when the world opened up for me in 1986, January 2nd, 1986. Was when my world changed dramatically and when I stopped using substances as an escape route from being inside my own skin.
Wow.
And I didn't have a choice, really. I would have died. I really do think I would have died.
Wow.
I feel looking back, like some of the experiences I had, some of the violence, etc., that I experienced in my late teens, early 20s, all honed the skill that I have today, because I actually had a couple of experiences where I left my body rather than deal with what was happening to me. And I
Yeah.
kind of hovered in the room up to the upper right. And that's where I get my information from. So I was able to kind of, in a way, like if you look, if a psychiatrist would have had a point to say that, I would have had a psychotic break. But without using those terminologies, I had an experience that enabled me to disconnect. So being a dissociation, like therapeutic, like being able to dissociate, even though that's something that is not, it's a way to survive. It's not something that you want to be in a dissociated state, but it enabled me to dissociate from myself or my identity in order to read someone else. So that, even though that at the time, I would not have woken up and said, whoa, look what I could do. If anything, it was like, let's hurt myself some more. All right. So be like, I'll show you how upset I am. I'll set myself on fire. And that was kind of how I was. So I have had a lot of experiences, not that any that we'll need to go into, to have had a life where I went from being in a very sequestered, because my parents, they were quite well off. I went to a private school for 14 years. Then my father lost all the family fortune, not
Wow.
by his fault, by being in a business deal that really wasn't his fault. His business partner, I think, committed suicide. And
Wow.
he had two other partners. Yeah, it was pretty tragic. And we lost literally everything. And my parents died paupers. And it's
Oh,
all the hard work that they put in. But during that time, I got clean and sober and they fell apart. My mom died of a brain tumor
oh
right
my
then from
God.
literally, she frightened herself to death. And my
Hmm.
stroke, he got dementia from basically the time that they lost everything. So that was all in my 20s. When
Wow.
they early 30s, I'd already been clean and sober for a few years. I'd started Cocaine Anonymous in Toronto with a couple of other guys. And it's funny because I never joined anything, but that set me on this path. And I used to go to Unity Church in Toronto because that they taught manifesting, like they taught
Hmm.
treasures, they taught intentional prayer. It was really interesting. The books that they had, the New Thought movement the American New Thought movement, right? It was mostly in America. Um, Christian Science, all that. Like I
Wow.
was into it. Like I really believed, and I had these wild experiences, completely clean and sober. So I know now, that was real, right? Before it could have been not so real. Like, how did that happen? Right? You know what I mean? Like maybe it was the acid. Right? But now that's why I laugh when everybody's like into this like ayahuasca. I'm like, are you kidding? Like
God,
you
I
do not
know.
need that. You do not need that to have an
Exactly.
awakened state. Hello. You can
Yeah.
do that through breath work. Guess what? But no. But
No,
anyway,
no,
I
I could
digress.
totally say something about that with you because it's
I'm
been
quite
about 11 years when some of my friends started and they're like, you should try ayahuasca, it'll help you, you'll channel this energy. And one
no, you're going to
time,
shit your pants and throw up. And yes, you're going to have some interesting channeled experiences, but guess what? You won't change unless you go and change yourself.
yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
that's
Yes,
and
they
that's
told
what
you.
happened. I almost went, then I thought, why am I putting something in my body? Like, you would put alcohol or drugs when I just have to go from within. So that's what I did. I did the work from within, but I'll explain a bit after. But I realized I didn't need something external to heal. I needed to go internally. Like I did all the Tony Robbins, walked on fire, broke boards with my hands. I
Yeah.
did all the crazy stuff, right? But none of that worked. It helped me to believe the power of my mind, but it didn't help me
Yeah.
to do the deepest work. And the deepest work I probably started because I went on my journey in 2012 when I had a cancer scare, which I'll explain in a second. But the part that I realized was when I had a kidney problem, and that was in 2015, and like my whole world changed. And I had no way that I could hide. I had to literally go from within and heal grief, ancestral trauma, you name it. I spent 7.5 years doing the deepest work, and I still do the deepest work today. But
Same
that's what
here.
I teach in 4 months now. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. This is
You
40
get it.
years later, and I am still doing the work. And I don't like, and actually, unfortunately, there was a co-optive statement when they say do the work, it typically means something else. And no, it's the kind of work I'm talking about is a healing of reclaiming parts that I've lost that are not broken. And I really of the idea that we are not broken. We inherit ideas about ourselves and conditioned responses to the world and ways in which we embody our belief systems, whether we're conscious of it or not. And it's really about awakened consciousness. And you really, right, you don't need a substance. Now, I'm coming from a place of prejudice because I abused it before, like before I got clean and sober. But I've come to a place right now where I'm not that judgy. I do that more out of a joke, right? But I'm not, I really, however you get there, if that's how you got to get there,
Yeah.
you'll get there and then you have to keep doing something. So I think it's crucial that all paths are acknowledged, but eventually you have to land at the inner. No matter what you do, you've got to land where you landed, where I landed.
Yeah. And it's the
That's
same.
where everything comes from.
Yeah, it's the same. Like, I think go do that ayahuasca, it's absolutely fine. But when it becomes an addiction, you're not doing it just once, you're doing it like every few months, then I kind of think, that's not good. So anything you do, there shouldn't be an addiction. It should just be the deepest work from within. Because, I'm 12 years sober as well now.
I
So
did not know that.
yeah, I'm 12 years sober. So
Oh, no wonder we like each other.
yeah, because
Okay, well, now we're
yeah.
talking. Now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah. And I had an eating disorder as well growing up,
No.
so yeah, I just want to, before we start, I was just going to say, I want to commend you for like doing the deepest work because it takes a lot of courage to say, you know what, I'm ready to heal and I'm ready to change. And you just went in and you just shifted and look at the work that you're doing now. That it to me is so beautiful. And I recognize, go, go.
Thank you for saying that, but I got to tell you, I do it because I don't want to feel bad. So part of
Mm,
it, there's nothing noble about it. In many respects, yes, I want to be a good person, but I just don't feel right in my skin if I'm
yeah.
not doing the work, right? So it's really about the avoidance of pain. And also because I got a second chance. And as you know, you
Yeah.
did too. We got a
Yeah.
second chance at life.
Yeah.
And so we have this was a gift, an unmerited gift, great by the grace of the divine God, goddess, whatever you want to use. But we got a gift that we didn't earn,
Yeah.
right? I didn't earn that, right? So that's why I'm committed still. I don't take it for granted. I know I could if I pick up today, I will be right back where I was many years ago. It doesn't matter. And we've seen it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So for me, it's that I want to stay alive and I want to have some value to give to other people.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good,
Yeah, same. But it's like
right?
it's the awakening. We listen to it. That's the key. We actually both went, do you know what? It's time to shift. Even with me, I realized it was time to heal. I didn't know fully at that point. So basically with my journey, I grew up seeing a lot of trauma as well. I saw people in extreme states that they shouldn't have seen at a young age. And I really understand what you're saying about the 50s and how mental health was seen because when I talk to family members about it, especially as women, if
Oh,
you were hysterical if you thought this way, but women, I almost feel like in those days were like, how can I put it? They weren't listened to and heard and understood. If you were psychic, then there was something wrong with you. Like we're all intuitive. It's just knowing how to connect from within, and that's the feminine energy
yeah,
anyway. So I grew up like
yeah,
yourself, knowing things, but I didn't know how. Even till this day, I don't know how I know these things, but it's the universe, it's the divine
right?
connection.
Yeah.
But if I shared that with a friend growing up, they would have thought I was crazy. So
And it does make us feel, I think every single intuitive or somebody who finds their way here have felt um, that they don't belong, right?
yeah,
In some way, that sense of belonging just isn't quite there because we are the only ones in the group that knows. My nickname was 411. Now that what that means here is if you dial 411, that's information, please. Right? So I don't think it's the same anymore, but when I was growing up, that's what you did. Just call 411 and get the information, right? That was it. So
that's funny.
because Colette will know, right? So it'd be like, oh yeah, let's ask 411. And but so on one hand, that gives us a tiny bit of inaccurate, distorted power, in a way, because it's about the ego. But on the other hand, it really is like, wow, that we don't feel like we're the same,
Yeah,
right? So no matter whether with family, whether your family is tight knit, whether it's not, where do we belong? And I will tell you that a 12-step program for me First time I went, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was a cult. And then I went back out and drank again some more because I went when I was 22. And then when I was finally 26 and 27, that's when I got sober. But it was the point of when I finally got there, I really got that I was with a whole bunch of misfits and we were all there for the same reason. And every single person's story, I could identify with it. And I finally belonged somewhere. And nothing separated me. And it was not even about the booze or the drugs or anything. It was about the spiritual malaise and the spiritual healing that could come with self-reflection, ego deflation, right? Like bringing the sublimation of the ego. You know, that's that prayer, thy will be done through me, or is it relieve me of the bondage of self so that I may better do thy will, right? Relieve me of the bondage of self, right? That's what it's about. We're in the ego. And then when spirit gets a chance to step in, it's a partnership. And then the whole world, I used to think, what happened to everybody? They're so amazing. Like, people are so nice, but nobody, it's all changed.
Yeah. No, I
Right?
understand what you're saying because
What I
when I
mean,
look
right?
around, I'm like, everyone has a gift, but they can't see it. So in 2012, I walked away from a career in journalism because I just had enough of the toxic news. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be a
Yeah.
health journalist. That was my whole narrative. I'd even worked in a pharmacy when I was at university. So I was always just serving without realizing. And people used to always tell me their problems when they handed over their prescription. And the pharmacist
Right.
used to shout at me, and I'm like, I just took the prescription. I didn't say anything.
There, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd go into the supermarket, everybody would tell me their issues, and I would just be like, what is it about me? But again, I didn't really, oh, so cute.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, keep
Oh,
talking.
so cute. And
She has a little heart condition and she
so
needs
cute.
to be held a certain way. So I gotta hold her
Adorable. But
down.
oh, but yeah, so I didn't realize I had this gift. And then in 2012, I'd had enough of the journalism world. I didn't like how I was being treated. I'd collapsed in the office. I'd made plans to leave a few months later, and the universe always has a plan.
Oh
And in
yeah.
2012,
Not ours. It's
yeah.
not the same one as we have,
And
but
again,
it
like
has a
yeah, everything, there's always a plan. Like even when I had the eating disorder growing up, it wasn't actually about the food itself. It was because I had no control over my life, and that took me years to
me
realize that.
too. Same, it's
Right?
always about control.
Yeah, it's because we felt like our life was out of control, and that was the only thing that we could control at that time in our life. So by the time
Yeah.
I got to 2012, I was just about to turn 25, and I'm sat in the hospital, and I have a cancer scare, and I'm like, oh my God, my life's gonna end. I'm like drinking excessively, thinking, oh my God, the world is just, I'm gonna die in my mind. And then I'm sat there and I feel sorry for myself. And I
Yeah.
say, what have I done to deserve this? And a voice says, you created this. I look around the room, there is nobody there. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going crazy. So I kind of think, okay, right, ignore this mindset. Let me just carry on. Get my results. They misdiagnose me. And I run out of the hospital and I hear the words, it's time to heal. And I remember,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I totally understand that. That's the
yeah,
call.
that's
I
the
had a
call.
similar experience. It's a voice, a disembodied voice, and you're like, who
Yeah,
said that?
yeah.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my God, is it me? But okay, I'm just gonna go with it. And I ran home and I literally spoke to a friend and I was like crying my eyes out, like, I'm fine, I'm gonna be fine. Went home, I looked in the mirror and I said, it's time to heal. And I cried my eyes out. And I don't know how I did this, Colette. I wrote 30 pages in 7 hours and I saw all the patterns of my life and I realized I need to change. And I just went on this trajectory, ended up having a radio show, working with young people. Like it just blossomed and we were doing like Reiki on the radio, you name it, everything. And it was just like coming back home to myself. And then I became sober. Then I became a vegan. Like the journey just transformed.
I tried doing a vegan, but it's funny. We did vegan. I did well, my husband just went along with me, but I was a vegan for about 5 years. But my body and it just didn't take to it. And then I did vegetarianism, but then I had gone to see this healer in LA, and I was never going to eat. I would never hurt an animal. Like I went on this tangent where it's like, oh my God, like I wouldn't even have a leather purse. But then I've since then just calmed the heck down. But this, yeah, I was totally insufferable. So when I went to see this healer in LA, and he said to me, he goes, you don't eat meat, do you? And I said, no. He goes, your first of all, your blood work, because he's an actual doctor. And he said, your blood work is really off. But what's your
Wow.
national, what is your background? And he says, like, I told him Canadian. He goes, no, no, no. your parents? I went, well, my dad is Serbian and Mongolian,
Wow.
and my their blood is Polish and French.
Oh, wow.
But when you look at my DNA, for example, I'm 83% Southern Slavic, right? Southern Slavic, and
Wow.
because they don't test in Western Asia, but the Mongolian, I know that's true because it was my great grandmother. But
Wow.
anyhow, and they all eat meat, like they're meat eaters, right?
Wow.
So he said, just have a small piece of meat. Now I know this is going to turn you off, but for some people, I said, okay, I'll eat just a tiny piece. And I sat, cried in a restaurant. I cried,
Mm.
and I ordered a little piece of steak, and I turned into a vampire, and I ate 16 ounces of red bloody meat, and I had never felt better. In like, it was as if somebody woke me up. And so I realized, and I was so ashamed. And Mark, my husband, said to me, you're not going to cry every time we go out. Are you going to cry every time you see meat? So I had to get over that.
Yeah. But you know what? It's interesting what you're saying because Heather Dane, I know she used to be on Hay House. So
Yeah,
she interviewed me many years on Hay House, and this is when I had my kidney thing. So I was always a meat eater, and then
yeah,
I decided, I don't know, just intuitively I became a vegetarian, and then I became a vegan for like a little bit while and then I became a vegan later on, fully vegan. So I
yeah,
understand what you're saying, but she said something that was very potent to me at that time, and she says the way to heal is to eat your ancestors' foods. And that's what you
yeah.
did.
They ate, oh, God forbid they ate horses. I'm never going to touch that.
Maybe
But
not that.
never, never. But they were very, yep, very much so. And I also do really well with a lot of vegetables, like, and a little bit of meat, right? So,
Yeah.
and I like fish. So fish is really my thing.
Mm.
But ultimately I had to, once I calmed down, but I know what works for me. And then there are days where all I have is vegetables, like all days on end where my body just says, yep, that's it. You're just having this. So I've
Yeah.
come to learn to listen to the body because it does change too. But
Yeah.
yeah, my ancestors, hate to say it, but they were out there chasing. Oh boy. So like Serbian, you know what I mean? Like it's very all the Balkans, they're meat eaters. They're meat eaters and or fish eaters. And then yeah, yeah,
But
it is
it
what
makes
it is.
sense. Yeah, because like my ancestors, the men would eat meat and women wouldn't really eat it. So when it was like my mum like would have meat growing up, then she became vegetarian, but she didn't eat it as much as like I did growing up. So my body couldn't digest it, and I actually didn't know I had a kidney defect until I was yeah, till I was 30. So I spent up to 30 years not even realizing I had a kidney defect. So
Isn't that something?
yeah, so
And
I
then
kind
your
of
body adjusts too, right? Okay, go on.
but the funny thing is, like, I stopped drinking, and then a few years later, I became a vegetarian. Just intuitively, had I not done that, I wouldn't have saved my kidney. Because,
Oh, thank God. But
yeah.
yet, thank God the body. And I've stopped, like, again, like I really was insufferable.
Mm.
I was one of these, overnight smug vegetable eating people. Yeah. And then I wasn't. And then I was like, whoa, I actually learned a lot because I was afraid. I think I realized that when we get that uber virtue signaling, it comes from fear, right? It
Yeah.
really does. It comes from fear of being left out or not belonging or feeling like, oh, I have to get it right. What's the matter? Bizou, sorry, she's shaking. Both my dogs have issues. My little black one that you saw has a heart condition and she shakes. The
Oh.
other one is going to see a neurologist on Thursday because she has seizures. So I always end up with the sick ones, but that's all right. I love them to pieces. And it's like they pick me. There's that sucker in Canada. Let's go get her because we know she's going to keep us healthy as she can, even if we
It's
get
it, it's the cancer side as well. My mum was a nurse, and you guys have a very maternal energy of looking after animals and kids. It's that energy that you guys have that naturally draw people that need help.
one of the things that I just want to close up when it comes to the food conversation because we
Yeah.
are having it. But one of the things that I do, and that I because I have a farm, so the neighbor up the road gives me fresh eggs,
Oh.
right? Fresh. We
Mm.
do not eat. I even in a restaurant, I will ask, "Where did you get this?" Like, so I won't eat anything from a factory farm, and I'm privileged that I can say no to that, right? There's a lot of people who are not in the
Yeah.
same position as I am to be able to say no,
Yeah.
right? But we only if we are going to have meat in the house, it comes from, we already know the cow. Do you know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So
Yeah.
we know they've been humanely raised. They've been, even when we lived in the States, when we were in New Hampshire, they had something called smart chicken. And I remember
Hmm.
thinking, they said, well, they're organic chickens, but they are not, when they're, when it was time for them to be food, to become food, they would put them to sleep and they wouldn't have fear. So, and it did,
Mm.
the meat tasted very different. So they gave them
Yeah.
CO2 so they would just fall asleep. So
Yeah.
these little birds would go in there and I was okay with that. So I had to really struggle because that was when I started eating meat again, because
Wow.
I still maintained, you know, the best of my ability, but I'm not perfect at it. I have a leather purse. I have this, I have that. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
stopped being like, I'm never going to get it 100%. So what the hell? I have
Yeah.
faux fur that looks just like fur, and that's, so it's like, it is what it is. I just think at this stage in our lives and in the way the world is, there are way worse things to think about.
Yeah.
But I still want to maintain a clean relationship, where a respectful relationship, because, and I now really understand why the nature of prayer over a meal is really important, because they
Mm.
have given their lives for us. And we don't see that at the grocery store. We see things in plastic,
Yeah.
right? No. So that's enough about the food.
No, so I love what you're saying because what I'm picking up is everything is energy. So the food that we have is
Yes.
energy. So I know when I used to eat meat, I used to feel quite angry, but that's because of how the food was created or how they were killed, right?
Yes.
So I would feel that pain in my body, whereas now it's different. And I am so grateful. Like I'm not gonna lie, I do miss meat. However, it saved my life because I intuitively, like yourself, like what I want people to realize is when we listen to our body, we heal. So if
Yeah.
I hadn't made that decision, I wouldn't have saved my kidney. When it came to the operation, I managed to save my kidney, but on the back of it, I got kidney disease. My intuition said, number one, don't remove the kidney, even if the consultants say it. So I found a consultant that did help and reconstructed
Wow.
my kidney. And number two, my intuition said, you need to go vegan. And I was kind of like, why? But my intuition said, do it. And I prayed for the answers how to reverse kidney disease. And I kid you not, it came up with medical medium. I Googled everything about kidney disease. And within 7 months, I reversed kidney disease. I reversed fibromyalgia and I reversed chronic fatigue in 4 years.
See, I think it's really interesting. I think that our suffering, when you can use your suffering as a way to, that's what's useful about suffering, if you can be anyway, if for yourself, to use it as a teaching tool,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think, here's what I did, here's what I still do, here's how like, I've also recognized perfectionism is no bueno in my world. And nor should it be. I'm also an artist, so you can't be, it's got to be just expression. But I think that if we can turn something like that. And the first moment I understood that was when I first got sober. Now I am also very colorful, obviously. Look at the hair. But at the time, I would be walking around in spandex with thigh boots, studded bras, okay, a shredded denim jacket, and
Love it.
hair look like, like seriously, like a glam rock. That's how I looked. I have to dig up a picture. I've got to find it somewhere. Anyway, it's not a Halloween costume. That's how I looked every day. So I went at the meetings, right? And about 5 years later, a man had spoken and said at a meeting, and he said, I was going to commit suicide. I had
Hmm.
come to a meeting and there you were speaking and you told your story. And I thought, that girl looks like that and had that experience. If she can do it, I can do this. And so you never know when your story is going to save someone's life. Like, and that I will never forget that the worst mistakes, and now I laugh about them, but the worst mistakes, the things that didn't go right, the getting on your knees, and then asking for help, and then one day at a time, one step at a time, as the fog lifts one step on the staircase before the next one, and then just being able to share that experience, strength, and hope with other people. Like, that's why I know that if we can turn the experience that we had, like what you have had, and
Yeah.
share it with people who are listening to your show, they're going, wow, she did that, because you were gifted with, I think we do have, the grace is an unmerited gift. And when the grace of God comes into us, and we, or goddess, or again, like, I know people are very precious about all what they call their freaking higher power, and I don't really care. Just call it anything,
Whatever works for
right?
you.
Just there, right? The higher power, and then you realize that because of myself, I can't do this. I can't, he, she, it, whatever can. I'm going to have to let it help me.
Yeah.
Because no human power can relieve me of these things. No human power could relieve me of my depression. No human power could relieve me of my eating disorder. No human power could relieve me of my addictions. But when I literally surrendered and gave it over to a power greater than myself and then did the work, my life became a miracle. I still didn't want to do this. For the first 6 years, I did this for a living. I told people, I don't really do this. I'm really a singer. Don't come back next year. Because I was doing meetings. And I was painting on clothes. I made a living as an artist on clothing, right? I would paint these things that are now in my paintings, and I would paint these sigils, and I didn't know what they were, but I was painting these runic symbols and things like that on clothing and selling the jackets. And I literally lived off of that for 2 years. And then I just stopped one day. And then the readings became more important. And then I just kept following, I guess, the crumbs into the forest, right? Saying all along, oh, thy will be done. P.S. I really want to be a singer. So, that record deal, I said, that's the way. That's the way. Oh, you want me to go this way? No. Is that a detour? Wait. Right. That's how it was the whole time. And even though I got the record deal, and even though I have 2 albums, and even though I'll have this is my life.
Yeah.
It's
It was
helping
listening
others,
to the soil.
the weirdo gifts that I have. I can talk to dead people. I can see things that people can't see. I can share my gobbledygook of a life, and I can genuinely, but I don't take myself seriously, but I take my responsibility seriously. I take it very seriously. And I don't teach what I don't know or haven't experienced.
Yeah.
I don't teach on the go. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I have had to have the experience, the integration. I've had to understand it before I have the right to stand on a box and say, I can teach you this, because I noticed that's popular.
I love that. And it's so true. And I think that's why people relate with you so much, and people with the work that I do, is because we've been in the dark moments.
Been there.
We've been there. We understand it. We know the tools that worked, and we share that. And that's what's key. That's what we're meant to do as humanity, isn't it? We're a community. We help one another.
And we're not gurus. That was the one thing I loved about Tony Robbins, even though people still put him on that pedestal, but I did a bunch of his stuff when I was young, the fire walk thing.
Yeah.
When he first did it, I'm talking like 30 years ago or something.
My God.
Right. But ultimately at the end of the day, it is, you share an umbrella. That's how I see it. And right now for me in my career, I'm 67. I'm at a stage where I said to myself, this is now where I give away everything that I have learned. I teach people how to do what I do. I'm going to teach them how to make oracle cards the way I have learned to do it, the way I've done it. I'm going to teach them how to coach the way I've done it. I'm going to teach them how to do readings. That's new. I said I would never do that. Next year, I'm going to be adding a professional certification for people who are intuitive oracle guides. I just decided, okay, how have I lived my life up until now? Now it's time to give away everything that I've done and let them make it their own.
Wow.
Let everybody make it their own, right? Even with the art, like this book that I've got coming out, The Art of Manifesting. You know how this happened? It's so bizarre. So I broke my foot. I broke my foot. And I couldn't go and I was online, and I took a class for 7-year-olds. They were teaching something about the neuro arts. And then I met somebody else. And then I did this. And I did all these online line art classes. And then I joined this membership. And it turned out this is an incredible woman from London. We made friends. Turned out we were both Reiki masters. Turned out we did the identical thing with our paper. She also taught a very strict, a fabulous thing called neurographica. That's not what this is. Anyway, so I had developed my own thing. And it's, kind of, if you would look at any type of, shape or whatever, but it's all about representation of frequency, etc. So I said to her, I said, what is this together? Why don't you come on board with me and help me out with this? And she was like, yes. But we didn't know where it was going. And then I taught all the executives at Hay House this thing that I did.
Wow.
It worked. And they just said, do you want a book deal? And I'm like, yes. It was crazy. Even Anna, like my Anna Denning, amazing teacher too, really brilliant. And if people do like the more structured approach, she teaches that too,
Wow.
which is very, very different. It was a Russian guy that created it, but this is very like glitter. You can put anything you want on the thing. It's like anybody can do this. There's no rules, just some suggestions and how you approach it spiritually and with intention. But they just said, here we go, and here it is. And I'm like I'm in shock. Like this is, and I know that right now we need whatever it is that we have, whether your work as a trauma coach or your work is sharing what you do, all the different things that I do, we need some type of way, and there's many of them out there, but this was just my version of it. There's many versions of this, of a way to manage your nervous system so that you can return to agency. And if it means doodling with intention, to communicate with the universe with intention, and to listen back to the universe with intention, and you're doing it with a little pen and a piece of paper, then and you start feeling calmer and more in alignment, you are going to be less likely to get swept up in all the algorithmic movement to get us corralled in one particular area or another. Right, this way we still have the agency to make choices, because we're not coming from that place of how do I put that, of disconnection, discombobulation, of being exhausted and overwhelmed, and the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, or attach, all of those things create the kind of like, they refoster a belief system that we're less than or unworthy, or that we should be afraid. Yeah, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, so is it almost like, when you're in school and you're like doodling and you're being present, it's kind of like being that, right?
Yep.
Oh,
Only
wow.
what we have a very specific number of steps that we do. So for example, so I'll just give you some of them. So, and it's in the book. So you have, both of us Reiki'd our paper without telling the other one, until one day I said it and she goes, "You do that?" I went, yeah. And I said, plus I've been teaching this other thing. So, which is a dog exercise. No, no. I'm on a podcast. I hope you can I edit this.
We're glad
Can you
this
edit
bit.
this out?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
All right,
fine.
Daddy, I am still on a podcast. Okay. Okay, we can edit this, I
Yeah,
hope.
yeah, that's fine. We can edit it. Yeah, don't worry.
Well, whatever. People know I'm at home with the dogs. Okay.
It's
Husband unit is in the house. Okay. So yes, also, like, if you see this, right, you see kind of how that is. So we start by, so let's say that the paper, we want to talk to the universe, right? This is a conversation, right? So we want to have a conversation with the universe. We know that we're always broadcasting energy and we're receiving energy back, right? This is reception. When we are in stress of any kind, we're disconnected really from that, because we keep sending out stress signals, right? The signal is stress, stress, stress. And parts of us are trying to figure out how to meet that, right? And we have old modes of behavior or thought processes that will kick in to protect us. That doesn't work.
Would you say that's also generational? So with the work that we know,
100%.
yeah.
My mom was a Holocaust survivor. I mean, when I say that, my grandfather, I still, it's interesting. I thought I was there. My mom has died, so I don't have a drop of Jewish blood in me. I thought I was going to find some in one of my DNA. My mom, her father was French, and he ended up dying in Dachau at a concentration camp. So he was picked up by the SS at the door. But it really could have been, we know he was part of the French resistance. He may not have even been Jewish. My mom gave us, she said, "Oh, you might be Jewish, might be part Jewish." And then, but she never finished. I never got the whole story when she died. And then I went and did this whole genealogy thing. But bottom line is, she picked up body parts during World War II.
Yeah.
And it was hidden in a family, and was like, so all the different pieces of the story. But the bottom line is, that's traumatic. Okay. So Dad was part of, he was best friends with Tito, who was head of in Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia.
Wow.
Who let him escape because he was a guerrilla fighter. So he was counter-espionage agent, which I know for sure was true, for the Brits, or he got strung up by the Russians. He would build the bridges for the Germans and blow them up for the British, and then the Russians And then the British came and got him out, and oh my God. And he basically went in with black hair and came out with white hair on the other end. Sewer, on the sewer. Trauma there. And they didn't want to tell us anything, right? So they were going to bring us to Canada, anglicize our last name, make it all better. And then I had to put all the pieces together. But my dad used to say all the time, you are directly descended from Genghis Khan. Right?
All believe what they tell us, right?
Oh no, but I believe that. I actually realized it because that's what his grandmother would say, great grandmother would say.
Oh my
So
God.
and she was brought with horses from Mongolia because they were horse traders way back when.
God.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, I digress. So yes. So yes, I got all this stuff that it wasn't safe to be yourself, right? Like you have, that's, how about that?
Yeah.
Sewn right up right there. It's not safe. You're not safe. You can't be too different.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot be different. You got to fit right in there.
Yeah.
Fit in, no matter what cost.
And
you
smile.
Fit.
Yeah.
Of course. Did I want to fit in? No. Right?
Yeah. It's so fascinating, isn't it?
You know.
But I understand because my parents are the first generation of immigrants that came to the UK. My mum came here when she was 10. My dad came later when he was like late 20s. And I had the people pleasing, the sacrifice, the good girl energy, put on a show, work hard, even if you burn out. We had all of that narrative, which then messes up your nervous system because your parents' nervous system is in survival mode. That's all you know. Oh my God.
Always. And it was worse for my mom too when my dad lost everything. So when we go back to the art piece, so say for example, so you have this running in the background, you have your story, I have mine. I'm sure the listeners have their own stories, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do with that? Well, you can't think them away, right? You cannot think they should go now, right? You just don't say that. Oh, I don't want this trauma. Thank you. Well, no, guess what? That's not going to happen. And so if you could find something that alleviates it, or at least allows you to build a bridge into something that comes from a place of safety, that's inner safety or inner agency, which means I get to choose, right? So if you're powerless in all these other ways, how are you going to feel that you have some agency? And everywhere we turn, we have stories of being powerless to change anything external to us. True. All we see are photographs of tragedy everywhere, like blah, blah, blah. And real, true life experience, all mixed up with the other kind. So it's all confusing. So here we come now with something to do. And I fell into it because when I got back into art, it was because I had such anxiety in 2021. I needed an outlet. I couldn't, nothing was working. It was like my breathing, the breath work, everything, I was having a hard time and dealing with all the people and the pandemic, etc. And so I started painting, and art really, it was like taking a Valium. It was art. I was lost. So I thought, ooh, you can't teach people that. But when I fell into the line work, I'm like, ooh, what if you did this as a meditation? Like, what if you just so the paper represents the universe. So you want to have a conversation with the universe. Say, okay, I can't do this. I know that part. How do I partner with the universe with this thing? So I say, okay, so how do I like ritualistically make the paper the universe? Well, you put life force energy into it, right? So you Reiki the paper. Right. So you don't need to be a Reiki master or even know Reiki. You put intention that we do a whole thing with a Reiki ball, and oh yeah, it's so crazy. And then I've always taught the dot exercise, which is to question what you're being told and what you actually see. So I put a dot on paper. People stare at the dot. I've done this in front of thousands. We had 60,000 people at one of my online things, right? So it's like everybody knows that I've taught this. So you stare at this dot, and the dot then moves around the paper. It's like, wait a sec. But you can't unsee that, even if you don't know what happened. It's like, so that dot didn't move, but it moved. So what was that? Well, I don't know, but you don't need to know. The fact is that it happened. Something different is available to us, that now you've got that. Now you can't unknow that. The brain goes, ding, it saw something, right? And you can repeat that, by the way. This is repeatable. Yeah. So then you put a portal, you open a portal, and then you step through a portal. This is the steps that in the book where we say, this is what we do. And it's you just need to know how to draw a shitty circle. It can look like a potato, who cares? And some wavy lines, and you can do this. And in the end of the day, you'll make interesting, fascinating, just by making little circles that are not perfect all over a paper in different parts, connecting to the universe through gratitude. And it works. It works in the way that all of a sudden you can't remember what you were upset about or whatever was bothering you, because you're locked onto a communication of a dynamic between you and the universe. You are sending out gratitude, and it's grateful for you too. Why? Because it needs you to experience itself in the world of form. And if you're grateful and you're saying, this is what I want to manifest, or this is my intention to experience something, you do the form. So it's all about letting the universe surprise us. It's not about locking on to the exact thing.
Yeah.
Right. So that's just through doodling. It's like, and again, I say just through doodling. We call it a meditative drawing practice, but I want people who are afraid that they can't draw to know they can do this. And at the very least, it will calm you down and make you feel like you have a choice again. Like it just zens you out. Like that's at the very least, if nothing else. It's like, I taught this to an 8-year-old in the summer. I was in Portugal, and she was they were 3 little kids. They were doing it with me, and they were like, the oldest one went to her show and tell at school in London, taught her whole little class how to do it. And everybody was woo. And there was a woman there who was particularly stressed out. And I said, here, let me teach you how to just do this circle thing that we do. And she did it. And she told me after, she goes, I can't believe that this helped me. I don't even remember what I was anxious about. Wow. She was halfway through. And then she sent me a picture of it. It was beautiful. She goes, I didn't even know I could draw.
Wow.
And I said, what? So that's what this book and this process is about letting go our tight hold on the need for certainty and surrendering into a sense of safety and gratitude, no matter what's going on external to us, where once we feel that feeling, the reticular activating system of our brain is going to light up the runway and show us, hey, you know that feeling you kept rehearsing? There's more of that over there. That thing there, that person over there is going to make you feel this again. So you're going to want to go there. And it does, and that's how it works.
Wow.
It just goes, whoop. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's so simple. Like, so simple.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes it's the simplest things. And I was going to ask you, what's the difference between the art of manifesting versus a vision board? But it makes sense. It's because you're connecting the dot with yourself. You're not needing to get some external images. You just go
you
to
can.
the Oh, okay.
So you can, but learning that the images are only placeholders. So
Okay.
I teach a vision board exercise every year for my entire, right? So every year, last year, I think we had 40,000 people that came to it. So this is the first time I taught it as a drawing.
Wow.
Right. So I said, so you're just going to put symbols of what the thing is that you want, the symbol of that. But I teach something called the zone of synchronicity. And so the zone of synchronicity is a very fat border, because whenever we do a vision board and we say this or something better now manifest for me, what are we saying? Well, this, but give me, or something better than this, right? Like, but anything else other than that, I'm not saying yes to that, right? That's what we're actually saying. This here, or something better than this. But instead, I have a whole border. It's called the zone of synchronicity. And I just put surprise me on it. And there's all this big empty circles with saying, you fill this for me. This is what I want in here, but you show me what it's really supposed to look like.
It's coming back home to self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. So it's so funny too. I got to tell you this is a very funny story. So I taught it January 6th on Epiphany. I taught it on the Epiphany this year. And so I had posted something because we trademarked our logo for the AM method, just because this is the method or the steps really, but it's line work. I want everybody to do it and do it their own version. Just go do it. This is our version of that. Right. So she says, so apparently somebody had come to my workshop. There was at least, I think legitimately, because sometimes we get bots. I think legitimately there was 33,000 people, but sometimes we get about 10,000 extra. One time I had 90,000 people. We thought, oh my God, half of them bots. Half of them were bots, right?
Oh,
yeah. It was like, whoa, my God, we have to spend so much more money on Zoom. No, you didn't. So anyhow, so somebody had gone into another group that they belonged to and basically took the video and taught it to the people, which I think is fantastic. But
Wow.
this lady came on and goes, well, how could you have done that when my friend taught it in this group January 19th? I went, well, she was obviously in my class. She gave it to us. And I'm like, I don't care who
It
gives
doesn't
it to you.
matter.
I don't care. That's why I gave it for free to 33,000 people. Go do this and show it to people and then go and teach it. That's what I believe. I believe that go and take the torch and carry it.
Yeah.
Go. That's the way to do it now. It's a we. That's why
Yes.
Pluto is an Aquarius now. It's
Yeah.
about we. It's not about me and
Yeah.
me, and mine, 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 mine. No, it's ours.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
ours.
I
Let's
don't
do it together.
understand that where people have this need. Like, obviously, I know we get sometimes obsessed with, like, that's what I created, but there's somebody else out there that might have the same mindset and the same idea at the same time, and the universe has put it into both people. But at the end of
No,
the
and we want to
day,
be so special.
exactly, me, like
Chronic
you said.
uniqueness.
But that's the ego,
I
right?
really suffered. I suffered with that, I think. I really think I struggled with that when because there was a period where my oracle cards, like I've done 19 decks now.
Wow.
And yeah, and I'm there's everybody's doing them now. Like
Yeah.
everybody's doing them. But there was a point in during my career where like I was a big fish in a little spit puddle. I just
Yeah.
splash near some more. And then finally I got to the place where it's like, no, this is just going to be for the people who want it. And I think that um, when I realized it, oh, I'm like, what is so unique? Well, considering I was inspired by the intersection between three ancient oracles, this wasn't my idea. You know what I mean? It wasn't. The divination decks that I are derivatives.
Yeah.
I can happily say that today. But when I was younger and I needed to somehow prove myself, like I had to prove that I was good, that I had something special. Now
Yeah.
I don't,
But that was
but
the
I
inner child, isn't it? The inner child was wanting acceptance. And I had the
oh
same thing as well. Like where when I started my early stages, I just wrote quotes. I wasn't creating them to like how it is on social media now. It was me healing, writing, just like,
yeah,
for you music helped you and, the work that you do helped you. Writing saved my life. So for me,
yeah.
writing was therapeutic and I was afraid to put it online. And when I did, I thought, what are people going to think and say? And then
Right? Isn't that
suddenly,
weird?
yeah. And then suddenly people like started copying it and like how you were saying, I was like, oh my God, like that's my work. Why are they renaming it as their own? But then I realized we're all here together. It doesn't really matter. They can do that, but
I don't think there's an original idea for
exactly.
anywhere. Nobody has. And
Nobody
I also
has.
think that
Yeah.
we just have different ways, original ways of talking about the same things.
Yeah.
And evolving those things, right? So I really don't have chronic uniqueness in disease anymore.
But I think it was going
I,
back to that inner child thing. We both wanted
yeah,
acceptance, and now I don't need the
acceptance.
acceptance, right?
No, no. But
No.
I did want that. There was a period in my career when I was younger where I wanted to be something. Same thing with my music. I wanted to be somehow, it would redeem me somehow, like make me, it wasn't about being special. It was about making me whole.
Yeah.
It was never about being special. It was never
Mm.
that. I never wanted to be famous ever. I could care less
Yeah.
about that. I
Yeah.
always say I'd rather be that band that fills out that no one's heard of that can fill an arena, but knows who the hell they are. Right? That's what I want.
Yeah. I
I used to
totally
say to
understand.
my husband, I want to be Motorhead. Because who the hell's heard of Motorhead?
I've heard of them.
Like you've heard of them. But you know what I mean? Like they never been on Billboard. They never had a number one anything. Right? But then the guy died, so I can't say that anymore. I'm getting over it. But yeah, it's the idea of that sense of each one of us is special in our own right, in that we are uniquely
Yeah.
here for a purpose. And
Yeah.
that isn't about being the top of a cherry heap. It's not about that. It's not, that's why influencer stuff, that's why it's unfortunate. I wish I was different, but I really don't like social media. I have a really hard time with it. No, my honest to God,
Same.
my team has to force me to make videos. I'm like, "Ah,
I'm the same. I used to love being on social media. Now I'm like, it's just everybody's an influencer. And I'm just like, when are people just going to be themselves? I just want everyone to be themselves because they have the gift to share your gift.
even the raw is
I
faked
know.
often." But I don't want to say, like, I really don't
Yeah.
have time to poo-poo anything.
Yeah, same.
Now I realize that it is a vehicle where people to come together. You know who you should have in your show? She's amazing. Her name is Aisha Ophelia. You got to check her. Her social media is rad. She is fabulous.
Mm.
She's in her 40s. She used to work for me like 20 years ago, and she's like my niece. I love her, but she is one to watch. She is hardcore spiritual, doing the work. She's a
Mm.
just amazing, wise, interesting, and artsy. Like if you have to see her channel, it's like she's the coolest person on the planet, I think, anyway.
Wow.
And she's really worth talking to. I think she's like a triple Scorpio. I think you would love her.
Wow.
And she's really got the finger on the pulse because there's a whole generation. You're probably much younger than I am. So
I'm 38 this year, so I'm closer, yeah, to her age.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're much younger, closer to age. So you're a different generation than me, right? So I'm an old timer, if you would call me that, even in the program. But I know I look younger, and I've never had any work. It's because I have a fat face. That's it. But
I think it's your energy and the work that you
it is
do that
probably, and
makes you look younger.
I
Yeah.
refuse to grow up ever. So yeah, but I can tell you, yes. So your generation are the generation that's, I think, the most important ones. So
Hmm.
the ones who are the new moms coming into the new motherhood. Rebecca Campbell's also amazing.
Love her.
So your generation are the leaders. Like I'm
Mm.
the one who's going to give away my secrets to you guys. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, here, come and learn, take it, make it your own, and do something. And you have your own anyway. You don't
Yeah.
need me. But my
Yeah.
point is that you are the new artists, right? To take the old information and
Mm.
make it into something new for these next generation.
Yeah.
And I think it's so crucial that you guys are out there. Aisha's out there. You're out there. Rebecca Campbell, she's 44.
Yeah.
Jennifer Rassiopi, who's incredible, really great astrologer. And that other one who I love, she's also very witchy. I can't remember her. Eliza Kelly.
Okay.
Like there's so many cool people, mid 40s and under, that I think like that's are the people to watch right now, and to take, because you are the leaders. You
Yeah.
really are. You are the leaders right now. You're
Yeah.
the ones that are going to impact these younger generations, because you're not so far. I'm relatable to most younger people because I act the way I do and I talk the way I do. I don't actually have a lot of people my own age follow me. They're like, wow. A small group do, but it's like, this is so important that you are out there doing this work, talking the way you do, sharing what you do, giving people protocols. They can relate to your experience because you're closer to their age too, and they're not seeing
Yeah.
some person they're like, oh, I don't want to be like her when I'm 67, or else, oh, I hope I am.
I would love to be like you when I'm older.
You
Just
know what
being
I'm saying? It's
yourself.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just so important that you guys stick together too, and none of
Yeah.
this, you know,
Yes.
like the competitive thing that
Oh,
we were raised with is like the girl boss garbage. Like, no, help each other, get out there and
yeah.
hold hands and shape the world, because you are the shapers.
Yeah.
You are the shapers. I've had my shot. Now I'm still no, I'm still teaching, but my point is that I'm teaching very specific things
Yeah.
that I've created, that I have built, that will help, you guys to build your things or
Yeah.
not, right? It's like, or
Yeah.
people who really want to hear what I've done, experience, and then here. Like, I've been very successful at a number of things, but that's the only things that I know that I can teach, because I know what they are.
Yeah.
So I think it's just an incredible time to be alive, and alive to be in your generation.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because I find interesting is your generation is what taught us the path, because we had to see all the patterns that you guys grew up with. We then had to learn how to unheal it. We are like the first generation that has made therapy feel like a good thing versus, oh my God,
Yeah.
it was stereotyped, right? Growing up, we wouldn't dream, I wouldn't have dreamed going to therapy when I was a kid, because you had that taboo side to it. But then I think in the last like 10, 12 years, we've shifted that
I'm okay.
perspective. And then the
Yeah.
younger generation are
Healing.
just
Yeah.
are open to it.
Healing. And it's okay. And yeah, it's what an interesting time we live in.
Yeah, because when I talked to my mum about it, my mum's born in 1952, so she's 6 years
Too
older
old
than
to be.
you. And, she tells me about therapy in those days. She's like, my God, nobody would have gone. It was a shameful thing. It was a taboo thing.
Shameful.
Yeah.
Shameful.
And when
It was a shameful thing.
like
Yeah.
there's something wrong with you, but not, there's always something wrong with all of us. None of us are perfect. We've all got some health
But that was
condition or
not
some,
okay. My
yeah.
mother never cried in her whole life until my dad lost family. Well, she cried once when she was young, when she had her tonsils out. I saw her cry that time. And then when my dad lost the family's money, I never saw her cry because it was pull up your bootstraps. You know,
Yes,
lucky to be here. People are starving all around the world. Eat your food. Don't talk about your hardships. Never speak about the family, and don't tell anybody who you really are.
exactly. Always shameful. Like if you tell the, don't share our family secrets. And oh my God, there was so much, wasn't there? To,
But that's okay because they were trying to protect us because that's what they were taught.
it was a
But
survival
now
mode.
I think the world is changing dramatically, and you guys are the ones that need to be the most authentic,
Yeah,
get out, and you got to make something new.
yeah.
You got to
You,
make shit up now, right? Because everything we've ever done doesn't work, right? And that's why, and we have to really honestly be very careful not to get into this nihilistic identity of nothing works, who cares, whatever. That's not
no.
true. You know what always works?
Yeah.
Communication and partnership with spirit. The
Hmm.
invisible world always works.
Yeah.
It
Which is why your
always.
book is amazing because it's all about coming back home to self, the art of manifesting, and it's trusting what is the next stages for you and your future, which I think is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. No, I'm so happy my mother kept my little mouse drawings. I always wondered, well, why does she keep my little mice? I made little mice drawings for her when I was a little kid because it was like, look how cute I am.
Oh, that's so cute though. I love that. I've
Yeah.
got a few more.
Anyway, it was,
I was
do
just gonna say,
we?
I've got two more
Yeah.
questions. We have gone over
Yes. Okay.
both, but it's absolutely
Okay,
fine.
great.
But I've just got a few more questions. What are your five top tips for someone who wants to rewire their brain for abundance? What can they do?
Hmm. First, identify where they have scarcity issues, right? I think that just acknowledging this, I have scarcity here. Try, and then remember I said no human power can relieve me. I don't think a human power could have ever relieved me in my scarcity issues because I really believed that scarcity. I didn't believe that money should be in a bank because the bank took our house. I was one of these people for many years, put my cash in a shoebox.
Oh my God.
At first, I'm not kidding. I was terrified. Right. That was when I was in my, like, yeah, newly sober. Oh my God, the bank took the house. I can't put money in the bank. Oh yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of like, where is your scarcity? Where does it come from? Is it true? What
Hmm.
would it, and then what could you imagine? So rehearsing something else like an actor. It's like I rehearsed abundance over and over again, not believing in it until I did, and it was like it became, oh, I guess I do. Right. And then, and whatever. And then also to understand where you bump up, where's your container? I teach a class called The Spirit of Your Business. And we actually talk about the spirit of money and the container that actually you have around having that, right? Like, what does it mean to have it? And so when you have compassionate prosperity, when you think about that, especially in the spiritual world, we always have a big chip on the shoulder, like, oh, I shouldn't be making money at this. Well, yes, you should. Um, but imagine that when you spend it at the store, it's going to help somebody else. It's going to help that person who put that product there, who's going to, or whatever, watch it circulate,
Hmm.
so there's all kinds of things. I don't even know one. Like, there's a great book I would suggest people read, and that would be The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. It's an old book written in the 60s. Great book. Yeah, it really helps. It helps because it's all about your higher power.
Beautiful. What are you most grateful for?
I am most grateful for my life in general. I'm most grateful for the fact that I have a lot of hope.
Hmm.
I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful, period. I'm most grateful for literally everything. I'm most grateful that I've also been able to be divested of my ambitious nature. My
Hmm.
Mars in Aries is like, go get, and I've calmed down. So I'm very grateful about that. And I'm also grateful for aging. I mean, I wish I had known a lot of the things. I also wish that, I don't know. I wish there was a shortcut. I will never take the jet. You know what I mean? I wish there was something because yeah, but whatever. No, I'm just grateful to be having a second chance at life and that look what I get to
Hmm.
do.
Beautiful. What shines your inner light?
Smelling my dog.
That
I'll
has
tell
to
you
be
what
the
shines my inner light. Kissing my husband. He's the best kisser on the planet. That's my number one. that lights me up. Being with my little dogs and painting and drawing, that's everything. It's it all. It's like I don't have one thing.
I love that. The smelling of the dogs, that's the most interesting thing I've ever heard on the podcast. I'll give you that. But
I love the smell of my dogs. Yeah, I can sniff you and throat you and the memories. And also, you know what else? The fact that I've been able to forgive and understand that I've never been that all the stories that I believed about my parents, my upbringing and all that, like how much of that I have healed and therefore healed them. Right. And I'm not angry or resentful or have any issues with that. That's there's a freedom and a liberation that comes from that.
Yeah.
I'm very freaking grateful for my sobriety. How's that? That's my number one. I could have said that first, but and you too.
Oh, that's so cute.
Are people gonna see this or just hear?
They might see parts of it. Oh, I think I will. Oh, so cute.
Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell. Hello.
You have
You're
to go
so
to
cute.
She has seizures. She has to go to the neurologist on
Oh.
Thursday. You little boo-boo.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Colette, for being on the show and just being yourself and coming back home to yourself.
Thank you. That was a great, fun time. I hope I didn't swear too much. I am the mystical pirate. That's my nickname.
Wow, what a beautiful episode with Colette. Please do check out her work. I will be adding everything in the show notes below. And I want you to just really trust that your life is heading exactly where it's meant to. Everything will unfold at the right time, but it's all about listening to oneself and one's wisdom from within and to trust that everything unfolds at the right time. Now, unfortunately, that's the end of the show. Before I leave, I want to leave you with this quote. You create your thoughts and your thoughts create your reality. That's a quote by Wayne Dyer. Now, if you're struggling to let the past go and trust the wisdom from within, and you really want to reclaim your power, visit my new program, which is the Infinite Trust Method, at www.gerdshundle.com. And remember, stay happy, stay healthy, stay lit.